today's lesson, we are going to be looking at HTML elements. This lesson covers the fundamental aspect of HTML, focusing on elements and their structure, types, and usage. What is an HTML element? An HTML element usually consists of a start tag, some content, and an end tag. It simply tells the browser how to display content on the page. Like we mentioned in our last lecture, I showed you a simple or basic structure of an HTML. So we are able to see how to create a file, how to create a boilerplate to display our content on the web page. We made use of some HTML tags like the paragraph tag and the body tag, and we're able to write some content. So, simply put, an HTML element is made up of the opening tag and the closing tag of a particular HTML tag. So on my screen here, we can see the paragraph tag. So the paragraph tag has a starting point, and we have this is a paragraph, which is the content, and we have the closing tag of the paragraph tag, which is the end tag. So together they form a paragraph element. This is common to other HTML elements, which we are going to be seeing in the next slide. So what are the common HTML elements we have? So we have the paragraph tag, which was the one I just explained in our previous slide. We have the links, like the A tag for hyperlinks, which we use to link our website or our web page to other external sources. We have the image or images, which is the img tag for pictures. Always remember that they are self-closing tag. We are going to be discussing that shortly. We also have the lists, or the list items or the list tags, which are the UL, the OL, the UL meaning unordered lists, the OL meaning ordered lists, and the LI meaning the list item for unordered and ordered lists. We also have the heading tag that starts from the H1 to the H6 for different heading levels. Self-closing elements. Some elements don't have an end tag. For example, we have the img elements or the img tag that contains some attributes within it. Here we have the src, which simply stands for source, and we have its value that it holds, which is img.jpg, which is an image. We also have the alt attribute with its value description. So I wouldn't want to go into detail what an attribute is, because in our next lesson we are going to be looking more into the details of an HTML attribute. So this is a self-closing element, the img element. There are other self-closing elements we will see as we proceed to do more practice in the future. Nesting elements. What are nesting elements? Simply put, elements can be placed inside other elements. For example, we have a div element, or we could say a div container that contains or that holds another element, the h1, and also the paragraph elements. So here we see that a single element or a general element holds two more elements, which is the h1 element and the paragraph elements. This is what we call nesting of HTML elements. This way, when we display this particular structure on our web page, we will see that the H1 and the paragraph elements are displayed in this order. Before we move into the challenge for today, I would like to do some demo for us to visually see what an HTML element is in a practical sense. So stay tuned as we move into the practical section of today's lesson. Now I'm on my desktop screen for us to start the practical section of this lesson. You remember when we name our folder lesson1.html, and now I will be dragging this particular file and dropping it on VS Code. Now on my desktop we could see our last project we worked on index.html, where I explained the basic intro to HTML file. Okay, and today we are going to be creating a new file. We name it element.html. Okay, it's loading. So now we have elements.html, and we would love to, I will give you a shortcut to create your boilerplate, your markup plates for your HTML documents. And to do that, or if you are using Windows, just Shift exclamation mark then enter. You will create a boilerplate that contains your doc type, the HTML tag to hold all your HTML elements, and other necessary tags that gives a description of your project, like the title tag, the meta tag, that I will be explaining in the future video. So, but I think you can remember the title tag simply gives a description of the title of your website. So for today, we are going to be giving it HTML as HTML elements. As the title. And now we come to the body. So for an element, like I explained earlier, an element simply contains an opening and a closing tag. So take for instance, like the one I showed you, the P tag. So if we say open paragraph P tag, then close, then we have the P. So these are the HTML tags. Now it's not an element. It becomes an element when it has a content between it. So within it, we will have, let's say, something like this is an, or this is a paragraph elements, paragraph elements. Okay, we have the P tag, the opening tag, and we have the closing tag. Within it, between it, we have this content. This is a paragraph element for today's lesson. So this is an element. The composition of the tag and the content makes up an element. And remember, I mentioned like a self-closing tag. For instance, we say the img tag, open the img. Remember, the img is a self-closing tag, like I mentioned, so it doesn't have like the end tag, just like the P tag has. So, and within it we have the src, which simply stands for the source. Okay, And if we have an image or something within our projects that we want to make reference to, we simply go through the process of saying, okay, this is where the image is. If it is a folder, you could see it's already making reference to element.html. Okay, that is a file within our project folder. And maybe it's an image, then we can just simply enter and we'll import or reference the image. Then we can use that image in our website. And we also have the alt, which is the alternative attributes. Okay, remember they are all attributes within the IMG elements. So, but for today, we are not going to be diving into what an attribute is. In our next lesson, we are going to be looking more into what an attribute is. Okay. So if we are to be creating a particular website, and within that website we are putting an image, or we are having an image on the page, we will see this reference. That's why most time when you go to a website and you don't see a particular image displayed, you will see some content displayed beside it saying this image cannot be found, or the reference linked to this image is broken. So this is what we have, and we have this as an opening tag. Then we also talk about nested elements. Okay, so for instance, if we want to nest maybe the h1 within, we want to nest the h1 and the paragraph tag within a single or a general element, we can simply say dot. Okay, and we want to name this particular container that we hold both elements. We want to name it let's say elements dash container. Okay, very soon we are still going to be talking about this. Just bear with me. These are like naming convention we use when creating nested elements. So don't bother yourself about what this is all about, or this class attribute you are seeing here. Just focus on what we are talking about on nesting of elements. So within this container we can have the p elements. Okay, the p elements. So p, and within p we can say this sorry, what's wrong with my typing today? This is a p tag. Okay, and we can have within this particular general elements, we can have an h1 also. Okay, this is h1 element. Okay, so we have all this as we have a nested element. Let me create a comment to give you an understanding of what. So we have single elements. See, well, a comment is just a way of documenting your code, okay, to enable other people that are going to be checking it to have an understanding of what you've done. Okay, then here we have closing elements, or let's say self closing tags or elements. Okay, and here we have the last one is what? Nested element. Okay, so this way you are able to understand that all this we are talking about the nested elements, and this from here to here we are talking about the self-closing. Okay, self-closing elements, and here we are talking about a single element. So all this makes up an element, nested element, self-closing element. So in our next lecture we are going to be diving deep into what attributes are and how we can make use of them to create our website. So here, let's just right click and open live server to see the results of what we've done. It's going to take some minutes to load on the browser. So here it is on our browser tab. So we have the first element we displayed, followed by the second one, which is the image, the paragraph, then which is the image, and this is the content within the image that gives a description of what the image is. And here we have, this is a h1 element, which is the next one, and finally we have a nested element that contains these two paragraphs. Okay, we wouldn't see the effects of the div elements for now because we haven't, or we didn't had any styling, which we are going to be doing more in the future. So this is what an element is all about, and in our next section we'll dive deeper into what an attribute is. In conclusion, that's the basic of HTML elements. In the next lesson, we will dive deeper into HTML attributes and how they modify elements. And I have a challenge for you. Try building a simple web page that includes a main heading h1, 2 paragraphs, which is the p tag, and unordered lists, which is the ul, with 3 items, that is the li, list items within it. Don't mind the anchor tag, just work on the h1, the p tag, the ul, and the li. Leave the anchor tag out of the challenge. In the next class, we are going to be talking more about the attributes, because using the anchor tag will require you to understand how the attribute works. So never mind the anchor tag, just work on the p tag, the li, the paragraph tag, and the ul tag element. Do this, take a screenshot of the, and I would love to see your progress on the comment section. Alright, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, small bites lead to big impact. I will encourage you to keep coding, keep practicing as we all learn together.